Brian Norman, Jin Kasaki, KO in the fifth round. Wow. Wow. Brian Norman, man, that is a rated R type of knockout. That is the knockout of the year. It is June. As of now, that takes the cake. There isn't a knockout more devastating this year in 2025 than this right here. And here's the scary thing about it. The scary thing about that fight was Norman had already put him down twice in the first round. And Kasaki, he was throwing bombs himself. He was landing ammunition. He was throwing firepower, but it was nothing like the accuracy of Brian. And the scarier thing is, Jin didn't know, he doesn't remember anything for the last month and a half. They had to revive this guy off the canvas, okay? And that's scary enough, but he recovered. This man knocked a month and a half worth of memory out of his brain. That's some scary shit. A lot of times people want to forget certain things, but I bet you what he forgot, he probably wanted to remember, especially the last month and a half. And if you think about it, hell, he forgot his whole training camp. Ain't that about what a training camp is? 6 weeks or so? A little more, maybe 8 weeks, but no, crazy. Brian Norman is something to be feared, and he's definitely someone to pay attention to, okay? He was respectful. He bowed to each four corners. He checked on Jin Kasaki to check if he was okay. It was scary for a while, but that boy there did what he's supposed to do. Shout out to Hot Atlanta in the building, because that's where he's from, and he's throwing bombs. You know, and Brian Norman has been linked to a lot of fights that would have happened, could happen, but, you know, haven't happened. You know, in fact, I was looking up the KO again just to do the review, the Counterpunch. And I seen him and Giovanni Gentalin, right? Him and Gentalin went to war. But he showed, even with a grueling fight like that, how good he can be. The higher his opposition, the better he gets. And I can respect it because, you know, Giovanni was 32-0, and he was putting it on Brian. And Brian had to show him who he was. He had to switch that gear up, kind of how, better than what Errol Spence did. Because Errol Spence, he chops you down, and he broke you down to the body if he never fights again. He broke you down. Brian throws bombs, and they're calculated bombs. They're those type of punches that have you looking crazy in there. You know what I mean? Those are those type of shots that put you to sleep, that put Jin Kasaki to sleep, that can take you out, that could possibly kill you. This is crazy, man. That was a crazy knockout. When I saw it, I was like, oh. Now, I've seen reviews of other fighters and other content creators and stuff like that, but when you knock a whole month and a half worth of memory away from a fighter, that's dangerous. And I do think he needs to have further examinations before even thinking about fighting again. Because if you get hit like that, fighting is one of those fights, those sports where you can end your life and end your career all at the same night. And, you know, both of them are bad, but, you know, of course, the final one is ending your life. Nobody wants to die behind it. But it has happened, unfortunately. And it happens a lot frequently than people realize. Yeah, it happens. It happened this year. It happened a couple times this year. So, yeah, Jin Kasaki, he's fortunate because with that particular shot that he got hit with, and the way he was out, I mean, on his back, out cold, that's scary stuff. Real scary stuff. You don't want to be put to sleep like that. You don't. And based on the way he is recovered, hopefully he can recover his memory. But, bro, that was a massive knockout. Shout out to Brian K.O. Norman for a display of punching power, skill, and durability, because he took a lot of shots too. Not only this fight, but in other fights that I've seen him in. Of course, the Giovanni fight, he took punches. He was cut. He ate that leather. He got the pound of flesh. So he is durable as well as that. Move over Julian Jackson, because Julian Jackson was a beast, but he couldn't take shit. He couldn't take a punch. Brian Norman is taking this shit and then giving it back. But you guys tell me what you think about this KO of the year. Brian Norton knocks out. Norman knocks out Jin Kasaki in round 5. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!